Hey guys, I'm Amy Whalen. Welcome back to Table Flipping Housewife. This project I'm working on is another dresser that I picked up from Facebook Marketplace for a mere $25. I couldn't pass up the price, but there's a reason that it was priced that way. It has good bones. I love the fact that the drawers slide in and out beautifully. They're all wood, the drawer glides and whatnot, but yet they work seamlessly, so I'm pleased with that. The drawers themselves, though, are lined with contact paper that I can't seem to get up. In fact, the previous owner tried to cover it with another layer of contact paper. So that's a hot mess I'll have to figure out. Started sanding these drawers. They were painted poorly with what appeared to be chalk paint, but were never sealed. So I figured I'm not going to use a stripper, I'm going to sand it. Well, it didn't go as quickly as I thought. So I think I have an idea what I'm going to do with this dresser, but I'm not going to disclose it yet. So come join me as I transform it back into a beautiful, sweet dresser. I removed all of the knobs and then I cleaned the entire piece with some crud cutter. When I was done with cleaning, I wiped everything off with some fresh water to remove any of the crud cutter residue. I then used my Dremel 3000 with a wire brush attachment to remove the paint within those crevices because I knew that my sander would not be able to reach that area. And then I started the arduous task of sanding the paint off of the top 4 drawers. I even sanded the sides of them as well as the interior. It was a very long process, but it was worth it. I'm curious to know what it would look like and if there would be enough stability if I took this whole panel off, because it looks like underneath is just a little bit of a leg, and I'm wondering if that's going to be enough to hold it. And then if that's the case, I'll cut these decorative pieces straight with a jigsaw. So let's see. There were about 10 screws that I needed to remove in order to remove the front skirt of the dresser. Alright, I think I like this better, and I think that there's enough support here with this. There's some damage here that I can easily fix with Bondo. Yeah. I put some wide painter's tape on the sides of the dresser where I knew I was going to be using my jigsaw to remove those decorative pieces. The tape helped prevent the wood from splintering too much. And here I'm drilling pilot holes so that when I went to make that horizontal cut, as you'll see in a moment, that the holes allowed me to insert the blade. You'll see in just a second. There were several areas that I needed to repair with Bondo. This is just one of them. You'll see me sanding a different area in just a moment. Bondo dries very quickly. Took a break, came back to it, and then I sanded all the areas that I had repaired with it. This is laminate, so I need to make sure that I am scratching with the sandpaper enough texture into it that when I prime and then paint it, the paint will be able to adhere well and properly. Dixie Belle paint is chalk based. Even though I sprayed my brush with water and even misted the piece itself with water, I was still getting brush marks with the paintbrush, and I hate that. So I ended up deciding to use my sprayer to apply the last 2 coats. All right, so I'm using 4 ounces of paint, and I'm going to put 25% water to thin it, so that's 1 ounce. And we'll mix that all up. I will likely need more paint, but we'll see. Just want to make sure this isn't too thin. If you look closely, you can actually see those brush marks now. And this was after I had sanded it and removed the dust. Those brush marks were still there, and I was hoping that once I painted, they would be filled in. Right now, you see me spraying on the paint, top to front. After it dried and I gave it a light scuff sand with 400 grit sandpaper and removed the dust, I then sprayed on the 3rd coat of paint in the opposite direction. That way, it helps eliminate any spots that I miss as I'm spraying. And when I do drawers, I do like to place them close together so that I don't get paint inside the drawers. So I just sprayed my 2nd coat of paint, so that's now the 3rd coat of paint on the dresser. I poured out the excess paint from my sprayer back into the container. I know some people say don't do that, but what the heck. I did. Anyway, so I poured out as much as I could, and then without cleaning this, I've added some Minwax Polycrylic, and this is in clear matte. And I'm just kind of stirring it up. I did filter it like I did the paint. And when that 2nd sprayed coat dries, I will seal it with the polycrylic. I tested my spray pattern on a piece of cardboard, and then I started spraying on the first of 2 coats of top coat. You'll see me again, just like when I painted. In this particular scene, I'm painting, or I'm spraying the top coat from top to bottom. And when I allowed that to dry and applied the 2nd coat, I went from left to right. Again, to try to eliminate skipping some areas. I just noticed I skipped that little streak. There, I got it. Oh my goodness, look at these beautiful knobs. I don't know if you remember them before, but they were a hot mess. They were kind of a creamy color with a green interior. I hated them. They looked horrible, but I couldn't fathom how I would afford 16 new knobs. So this one's still drying. Look at that. That is so pretty. So I coated them with a stripper overnight, scrubbed them with a wire brush this morning, and then scrubbed them again with a wire brush with some mineral spirits. And then I just soaked them upside down. I didn't want to get this part too wet. Didn't want the wood there to swell because the screw has to go back in. But I soaked them upside down in some soapy water and just scrubbed them, and look how beautiful they are. Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to keep them just like this and maybe just apply a clear wax to them. I love these. That hour and a half was a labor of love and very worth it. Alrighty, so I've been experimenting with the drawers. I've decided I want to go for that Scandinavian look. It kind of happened organically and I like the idea. So I have the two large bottom drawers that are painted in the Dixie Belle drop cloth. So I wanted to keep these raw, but as you can see, there are various colors of wood. Some of them were very yellowy. They're less yellowy now, and I'll explain why in a moment. This one's very green, brownish green. Okay, so this is what I tried. First, I tried a wash. I put equal parts drop cloth and water in a container, painted it on one of the drawers, wiped it off, didn't like it. It was too yellowy and not enough contrast between the painted drawer and the one I had tried to wash with this. Then last night, I took Big Mama's Butter, Orange Grove. It's a lovely salve, but I still felt like these were too orangey. So then, this evening, I took Dixie Belle's Best Dang wax in white and applied that and rubbed it off. So I've just applied the wax. I let it sit for a little bit, and now I'm buffing it off. And in general, I like the look of it. It's kind of got that weathered look. I wish I had done the white wax first instead of Big Mama's Butter, because I think more white would have blended in. Do you see the difference now that I've buffed it? It's terrible lighting. It's 8:30 this evening. Here I've buffed it off. Here it's still a little white. But anyway, so I'll sit on it overnight. I'll probably lose some sleep because this isn't quite what I wanted, but I think I might let it have to be. But what's bothering me is this drawer here. It is such a different tone from the other three. Isn't that weird? I might just have to let it be. For the knobs that I stripped, I think I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm just going to skip the Big Mama's Butter altogether. I'm just going to try the white wax directly on them. Here's one that I've already applied. One I have not. See how it kind of ages it, just kind of weathers it rather a little bit. I want to seal them with something anyway, since I essentially stripped them down to nothing. So I'm going to apply some white wax on these. I imagine some of it will get stuck in the groove of the knob, so that when I buff it off, it'll still be kind of white in there. I think that'll look pretty. So it'll look a little different once I buff it. In fact, I'll show you that now. Okay. There you go. So, nothing waxed, buffed. Now, before I show you the reveal, I do want to mention that if you like the content of what you've seen so far, please subscribe to my channel, ring that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming projects, and please leave me a comment. I do reply to every single one. So here you go with the reveal.